How big is your penis?
I mean, I would say I can't. It's a specific number. Are we looking? I don't know, man. I would have to say.
Hey guys, it's Hink here. I really do read your all's comments, especially your suggestions. I have a commenter here and he says, hunk, which, I'm flattered, but I'm sure it's just a typo. Hink, could you please react on the video, aka 100 men after their junk size from cut? Could be very interesting. I know one of them said something above 9 inches, but also not below 5. I checked out this video and I was fully prepared to just be like, oh my gosh, this is stupid YouTube garbage. But there is actually a lot of talking points that I want to break down today. Let's get into it. And that being said, guys, take a time, just give a thumbs up on the video, okay? I got my Olympic spirit here, but also let me know what you want to see in the comments. Just say, hey, this is a great, topic I'd love for you to cover. And also just subscribe. I'm well on my way to 30K, guys. I'd appreciate you helping me get there. So guys, before we even get started, you have to understand that this is self-reported data. I have made actually several videos, including like actual size statistics. And in that video, I actually broke down that when men self-reported their data, they reported it about an inch bigger. Self-reported was about 6.21 inches on average, where when you had studies that actually fully measured the erect penises of like healthy men, some of them with even medical induced erection, it was about 5.2 inches average. So if you self-report data, it's literally proven by science that men are going to lie about it.
Before medication or after medication?
So guys, this clip was actually pretty interesting because this guy's actually very insightful because size can vary dramatically based on basically your erection quality. I always tell people that if you're interested in basically getting bigger, try some sort of like erection quality aid. And it's most severe, you could try something like Viagra or Cialis so you could see like what is your size if you are absolutely maxed out rock hard. And if your size is dramatically bigger, don't focus on like techniques like, stretching or pumping. You need to focus on techniques that are going to improve your erection quality. And guys, of course, if you don't have access to things like Viagra, Cialis, I have my Vigor out, guys. It's amazing for erection quality because of its clinically proven ingredients to maximize endothelial function and nitric oxide. Now, if you really want to get rocked up, combine it with our Fortitude supplement, both of which are available on leviathansubs.com.
How big is yours?
Right about average.
Average? What's the average?
You're gonna have to look up the statistics for that one, my guy. You tell me.
All right, guys, so here's a big mashup of clips where everybody's like average. The thing about average is it's subjective, okay? And so here's a paper that actually showed that most guys that go for like enlargement surgery are of average size or of normal size within a normal range distribution. Basically, most guys think they are smaller than what they are. If you ask somebody what does the term average mean to them and actually give a numerical value, it might mean very different things. And so I do appreciate most of these guys just saying like, yeah, I'm average, because odds are the average is the average for a reason, but it's just still very subjective. The other thing is how big actually is average. I like how the commentator actually, called it out, what is average? And he's like, oh, well, you look it up, you do the stats. But it is important for him to say, because like for him, maybe 7 is average and then he's way above average, But guys, we need to talk about the average. Average is a pretty stupid idea. You take all of the numbers, you add them all up, and then you divide by how many there are. I'm not going to go off on a too big of a tangent. Like if you look at all the income stretched and take the middle value compared to actually the mean income in the United States, the difference is wildly different, because if you take the mean or the average, it includes all those like billionaires and damn near trillionaires and the people who make less than $25,000 a year, and it adds them together. But all those super rich people moves the needle way up. It's similar to this, that I just don't like the term average. What's more important is actually what is a normal size distribution. There's a beautiful paper. It looked at over 15,000 men, and the paper's called Am I Normal? And in that, they found that the average was 5.17 inches with a range of 4.5 inches to 5.8 inches. So anywhere within that 4.5 to 5.8 range is still a normal distribution. It's within that normal bell curve in a standard deviation. So that is what's more important. If you're 5.6 and the average is 5.17, yes, you are technically bigger than average, but you are still going to be within that normal size distribution. If you're 5.6 inches, it's still pretty unlikely that some girl is going to be like, wow, you're big. I mean, it's still possible, but you need to have like a actual real idea of what is kind of normal so you can be like abnormally big, or in some cases abnormally small. And guys, even more importantly than that, so here's the basically nomogram for basically erect length. And what you can see here is that 90% of the values are going to fall between 4.3 and 6.3 inches. That's 2-inch range where almost every guy is going to fall. For example, if you have a 4.5-inch bone pressed erect penis, like, yes, that is technically less than average, but that's still within the 90% distribution range. But that value is just 4.5 is right at the normal end of the standard distribution normal range. Hopefully I didn't spend too much time on this and that makes sense, but it's important to know what a normal distribution is, not just what a mean or an average is.
How big is my penis? Oh, fucking God, you guys would ask this question.
How big is your penis?
5.5.
5 or 6 inches, a little smaller than 6 inches.
It's the size of an iPhone 6. It's the exact same length as American currency.
The width would be of like a early 1000 version of the PlayStation Portable.
My iPhone 11 on scale. Maybe a little bit bigger on a good day, you know?
I also like this clip here, okay? Most of the guys are saying that they're somewhere between basically 5 to 6 inches. Once again, that's within a normal distribution. That's like darn near within what I would call average. Now, 6 inches is above average. It is greater than 1 standard deviation, okay? So that is bigger than normal. So that is big. I know I'm blowing some of you guys' mind. 6 inches is big. Yes, guys, 6 inches, statistically big. I did think it was funny that the one guy was like, I'm the exact size of a PlayStation Portable width. Just so you guys know, that's about 6.7 inches, okay? I also like how these guys were creative. Like one guy was like, I am the exact length of US currency or whatever he said.
Like, what's the thing where it's like you hold up like your thumb and it's supposed to be like about that? That's probably about accurate, maybe like a little longer than that, but not like dramatically.
This I had never heard of. Basically, the distance between your palm of your hand and your thumb is like some people's size. So for me, that is not accurate. And that was like the first time I had heard of that. Now, what has been more accurate is basically the distance from like the bottom of my hand to like the tip of my middle finger. I don't know what you guys have heard. Let me know in the comments, like, what is the weird, like, oh, your D is the exact size of this trick that you guys heard. And am I crazy for that distance?
I mean, it's not big, that's for sure.
I know I'm under the average.
How big is your penis?
Not very.
And so, guys, I love this section here. There's guys that I'm sure they weren't thrilled to admit it, but they were willing to admit that they either felt small or that they were not very big. And I do think it's important that there's guys that say this. I mean, number one, you could have somebody with severe dysmorphia. So if they had me on here 4 years ago, I would probably said I'm average. And even though I was definitely like well above average, but for like my height and size, I felt very small. I don't like how subjective this is, but I do think that these guys are probably a smaller size and certainly not as big as they wish they could be. And I just applaud them for being like, I'm smaller than average.
Does size matter?
No, no. I don't think so. I don't really have that much experience with that.
Size? Nah, I prefer personality, honestly.
I found in my history, it's been less about the size and more about the lead up to it and the technique.
You can use more things than just yo dick, you feel me?
I hate to be the one to break this to you guys. Like it matters. If size didn't matter, I wouldn't have a channel, guys. It's just an asinine kind of argument to have. Oh, guys, size doesn't. It does matter. I'm sorry, it does. Now, it doesn't matter as much as you think it does. And if you're in a heterosexual relationship, it damn sure doesn't matter as much to women as you think it does. But it does matter.
If you're good at foreplay, you can put your pinky in there. It's done.
This guy has a good point. It just needs to be big enough to get the job done. And for some cases, like if you get your girl good and like warmed up, sometimes you don't even need penetration to actually get over the top.
It's average, I'm not gonna lie, but I think when it comes to like black men, it's supposed to be a stigma like being bigger.
This stereotypical, length, you gotta be here. But I'm pretty confident with my John. I'd say average. My wife says different.
What's your wife say?
She says it's bigger than I make it out to be.
I love this section here. So, like Hink is your, team light skin, but it's basically a series of black guys saying that they're basically average. Okay. And they're like, yeah, I'm average. I'm not going to lie to you. And this is important because honestly, guys, I made a whole video about like race and size. Okay. And I break down the data, but the actual average size is about the same unanimously across races, certainly within that same like range of distribution. So the BBC myth is a very harmful myth that actually like fetishizes a lot of black men. On top of that, it makes hella black dudes extremely insecure. So if you're a black male and you don't have a black size, porn star size D, like it really messes with you. And there's these expectations of like, oh, once you go black, you never go back. I applaud these black dudes for being like, no, like, bro, I'm average. And guys, stay tuned because I have found actually a lot of data like ranging everywhere from like China to the Middle East to even Nigeria about like what is actually average sizes. And so I think I'm going to make a part 2. So make sure you subscribe.
I feel like it matters to girls, but they won't say it does.
Honestly, I like this guy's honesty here, or his self-awareness. And girls might not say it matters, but it does. And guys, once again, I'm not going to belabor this point too much, but it does matter, okay? If you are out looking for a girl or guy, whatever, it shouldn't matter, in my opinion, if you're looking for a partner. They should love you for who you are, for what you have to offer, for your characteristics, your personality, not necessarily like what value you bring to the relationship, but in the same lines, like I do think you need to maximize yourself and make yourself as high value, as cringy as that sounds, as you can. Learn a new skill, learn a language, be educated, have a good job, be in shape, maximize that shoulder to waist ratio that has been clinically proven that women like.
How big is your penis?
7-inch.
7 inches?
7 inches. And thick.
Here's where this video starts to go downhill. I knew there was going to be this section. You have at least 6 guys say that they are 7 inches.
How big is your penis?
Man, last time I measured it, it was like 8 inches.
And then you have even one guy that's, yeah, I'm like 8 inches, okay? Like 7 to 8 inches. Number one, it shouldn't be that wide of a range, guys. Like, I feel like a lot of these guys on these videos are like the guys that are 5'10" and they're like, yeah, I'm 6 feet tall. Maybe somebody's like 6.7 inches and they just round up like, yeah, I'm about 7 inches. I'm not gonna like try to gatekeep. I don't know what should be the cutoff threshold where how close are you to this number before you can claim it. But I do think there's a lot of fudging the numbers here. And guys, you have to understand something, like 7 is ridiculously big. I know that we have been brainwashed that like for you probably think there's actually guys that exist with foot-long Ds. They don't. Or there's like 1 in literally a billion with a D that big. Most of these corn stars you guys watch, 8 inches, 9 inches max. So guys, there's this penile percentage calculator. It's called CalcSD. It's very good. It measures like bone pressed, non-bone pressed, Western, Eastern, worldwide averages. If you plug it 7 inches of length into the calculator, you are in the 98.91 percentile. That means if you're in a room with 1,000 guys, there are only 11 guys that are going to be longer than you. Here, we already have 6 guys. Out of asking 100 guys, they're saying 6 of them are at least 7 inches. Statistically, that's like damn near impossible, okay? So some of these guys are lying. And guys, you have to understand, once you hit 7.5 inches, statistically, 1 in 1,000, out of 1,000 guys, 1 guy is going to have a D that is going to be 7.5 inches. So you're already at that like 0.000 percentile or whatever.
7 in the winter, 8 in the summer. You know, the shit gets cold, it shows up. So, you know.
What the heck is wrong with this guy? Like, oh, I'm 7 in the winter, but 8 in the summer. Like, you have terrible blood supply. Like, it should not fluctuate like that. Sure, your flaccid D maybe, but your erect D does not fluctuate that much based on the cold. If anything, it's because of poor circulation. The guy that said it is like clearly overweight. So you need to work on your actual cardiovascular activity and you would not fluctuate that much. I am the same size damn near year round. Flaccid size is a little bit different. Like literally 1 in 1,000 guys is going to be 7.5 inches or bigger. But yet in this group of 100 guys, where I would say probably at least half to a third of them did not even answer it in this video. So you got like actually 50 guys that are willing to basically imply their size or say their size that we have. So we got 8 inches from the clip before. We have 8 inches in that summertime guy. And guys, just so you know, if you're 8 inches in length, in a room of 1,000 people, none of them are going to be bigger than you. You're at the 99.99 percentile. But yet in this video, we already have at least 2 guys in a group of at least 100 that are bigger than 8 inches. Statistically, impossible. Not impossible, extremely improbable.
You know, 8, 9 inches or something like that. On a good day, we're pushing 9+.
And now we have the section where 2 guys claim to be 9 inches. At least on CalcSD, you can't even calculate how unlikely that is to be actual 9 inches. In this paper that looked at over 15,000 men, the maximum size that they found in over 15,000 men was 21 centimeters or 8.26 inches in 15,000 men. But yet in this selection of less than 100 guys, let's be generous and say 75 guys give their measurements. You're saying that there's 2 guys that are at least 9 inches, 4 guys that are 8 inches, and 6 guys that are greater than 7 inches. These are not guys that are expecting this question. Clearly, you can tell that a lot of these guys are absolutely surprised, and some of these guys refuse to actually answer the question about how big they are in the first place. Men lie. You're on national TV. You want to be the guy that, like, yeah, I'm 9 inches. Like, oh, like, who's that guy? Let me find him on Facebook or Tinder or whatever. This is where girl inches come from, because guys lie. And so it's like, oh, you girls don't know how to measure us. Well, it's because guys tell them. If you're 5 inches, men typically say 6 inches. If you're 6 inches, men typically say 7 inches. And if you're 7 inches plus, men typically say 9 inches. And if you're 8 inches or bigger, you're going to tell people it's a foot long. It's just like, that is just kind of the progression. The other thing that's very interesting is, if you noticed, it's all black guys that are saying they're greater than 8 inches or 9 inches, okay? And so once again, how much is that of that BBC stereotype? I'm going to be on this national thing that people are going to watch worldwide. You know, I don't want to be the outlier in the stereotype. Funny enough, guys, like, my girl actually thinks I'm legitimately 12 inches, even though, like, mathematically speaking, I'm closer to 6 inches than I am to 12 inches, okay? And I've never been like, honey, I'm 12 inches. She just, like, assumes because it's, like, far bigger than average that it's 12 inches. But I'm not about to be like, honey, sit down. Let me explain to you real penile size statistics. She's like, yeah, you're 12. I'm like, okay.
There's some guys I've been with that I'm like, I don't know what you're planning on doing with that, but that's not going in me.
Conversely, like, here's a guy that's actually, look, if you're too big, like, you're not coming near me. And there are girls that are the same way. So you don't understand. Of all the girls that I've asked about, like, what was their worst sexual encounter, it has unanimously always been with a guy with a big D, because he thinks that he just has a big D and he doesn't have to work, like, for anything. And he just goes in there and just, like, slams away. So size is not everything.
I don't think it matters, but it can still affect how you feel about yourself.
This is without a doubt my favorite guy in the whole video. This is the most salient thing of this video, because no matter how many people I say, like, oh, this is the average, you know, and here's where you line up, there's always going to be those people that, like, they don't care. Okay, 6 inches is above average and I should feel big. I don't feel big, but it's like, nothing is going to affect how you view yourself except how you view yourself. And so if you have a bigger D, you're going to feel more confident. And guys, like, when I got bigger, that's part of the reason why I made this channel, is because increasing in size, like, just completely transformed my life. And I know that that is, like, petty and shallow, like, whatever you want to call it, but I had severe penile dysmorphia. And it wasn't until basically I started doing this and added, you know, 1.5 inches in my size, which, yeah, unlike most people, it's actually documented. You can actually find my pictures on Reddit. That's a big reason why I do these videos. I put out this free information. But if you want concise, like, step-by-step guided guides by me on how to get bigger, guys, my course is in the description below, guys. Literally thousands of guys have used the course and are getting bigger actively. And so if you want to be one of those guys, if this really bothers you and you want to actually do something about it, you can choose my course if you like.
This might be a bit of an overshare, but I undertook about a 10-year regimen of different exercises for the penis that gave me about an extra 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So I'm pretty happy now.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
The comments are going to be filled with young men asking what they need to do.
I saw this guy and I was like, okay, tell me you're a Reddit mod without telling me you're a Reddit mod. You know, I don't want to spoil what exercise he recommended, but I was like, all right, I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm joking here, but I was like, all right, this has to be one of the joke for you guys. This has to be one of the joke for you mods right here. But I got to give him his flowers. He said over 10 years, 10 fudging years, he got about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, guys. I said it before, it's a long game and people exaggerate how quickly you can make gains. If you haven't seen my video on realistic gains, you need to check it out. But if he really stuck with it for 10 years and got that size, you know, hats off to him. I would love to know what his Reddit handle is. But then he absolutely ruins everything because...
Joke. That's what you need to do, young man.
Like, guys, do not joke. You are going to break your D. And I'm sure there's going to be some jerk off in the comments that's like, I joked and I'm fine. Like, yeah, there's people who don't wear their seatbelts and they're fine because they don't get into an accident. But guys, I can't tell you how many people I've coached through injuries, patreon.com/DocHink, that have done it from joking, okay? Do not joke. Do not listen to this guy. And I hate that this joking continues to be perpetuated in, like, popular culture. I thought this was a pretty entertaining video. I think it sheds some light on real size statistics and hopefully you learn something from it. Most of the guys in this video are average guys. The average is an average for a reason. There are some outliers. Certainly in this group, there's going to be some guys that are bigger and some guys that are going to be smaller. But it's actually quite rare to be bigger than 7 inches, guys. It just is. Guys, if you're looking for ways to support me, you like what I do, till the next one, guys. All right, peace and love. Remember, there's nothing wrong with self-improvement, but you are enough just as you are. All right, guys.
Dr. Hink got the plug on the health, yeah. Got you thinking about your wealth, yeah. In his office, no stealth, yeah. Pinnacle of that below the belt, yeah. Checks and balance, he's managing. Working miracles, no damage. Got you covered, no panicking. Stay calm. In the clinic, no vanishing. Yeah, with Doc Hink, it's the way